All right, so get this. You ready? Because today we are diving into some pretty deep waters with this seduction course.
Oh yeah, from what I've seen of these last few CDs, it's about to get intense.
Intense is a good word for it. And right away, he starts by congratulating you, like for making it this far. You've absorbed a ton of material, and he says you're ahead of like 99% of the population when it comes to seduction now.
It's a clever tactic for sure. Almost like pumping you up, giving you a little confidence boost before he reveals the big secrets.
Makes you feel like you're part of some elite club.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Like you've got this secret knowledge that most men don't have.
Okay, so then he hits you with this null competition theory.
Yeah, this idea that if you were living in a world with hardly any other men, your flaws wouldn't matter so much because you'd be in such high demand.
Oh, interesting. So basically, he's saying that competition plays a huge role in dating, and if you understand that, you've got a leg up.
Right, it's like knowing the rules of the game before you even step onto the field.
I like that analogy. So does that mean like we're constantly sizing each other up, comparing
Well, it
ourselves?
makes you wonder, right? Like, how much does that affect our confidence?
Definitely something to think about. Okay, then he moves on to this idea of resistance, where he claims that attraction is there a lot of times, but there's this wall you have to break through.
He talks about his techniques being like building a passageway
Mm-mm.
through that resistance. It makes you wonder about where the line is, between making a real connection versus just manipulating someone.
Yeah, that's a bit unsettling. But then he changes gears and starts talking about how important your attitude is. Like what you believe makes all the difference.
Mhm.
He says the only thing holding you back is yourself.
Right. This is where he really emphasizes the power of your mindset. Believing in yourself is like the key that unlocks your seduction potential or something.
And he also suggests that you should always have several women that you're dating at the same time.
Yeah, he says like three that are active and then a couple more in the wings, so you're never without, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a controversial piece of advice.
Yeah.
Do you think that can really lead to genuine connections, or is it just about maximizing your options?
That's a good question. Then he gets into setting seduction goals, but not the typical kind of goals.
Not like find a girlfriend by the end of the year or anything like that.
No, he's talking about seducing one woman within a specific time frame. Like, make it your mission to seduce a woman in a month,
Eh,
let's say, and then you gradually shorten that time frame.
So it's like a challenge.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
like he's turning it into a game almost.
So what's the end goal then?
Well, he actually has this goal of being able to seduce a woman within 24 hours. He calls it the 124.
Wow, that's pretty ambitious. I mean, could you imagine?
It would take serious confidence and skill, for sure.
Mm.
And then on top of all that, he describes this technique for programming your subconscious mind while you sleep.
Wait, what? Like, how do you do that?
He records these affirmations on a loop tape and plays them softly all night long.
Seriously. It sounds like something out of a movie. It's like he
Or
thinks you can rewire your brain with subliminal messages while you're asleep.
Right. Pretty wild. It makes you wonder about how powerful our subconscious minds really are.
That's a lot to unpack. I mean, we've got a confidence booster, a competition theory, a resistance wall, and now a subconscious programming tape.
That's a lot to wrap your head around.
Where do we even begin with all of this?
I think a good place to start is to look at the science behind some of these claims. Like, is there any evidence that listening to affirmations while you sleep can actually change your behavior?
Yeah, let's dive into that.
And how much of what he's talking about is really just psychological strategy versus genuine personal growth?
All right, so we're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back and unpack all of that in the next part. Okay, so this whole thing about subliminal messaging while you're sleeping, it's pretty out there, even for a course on seduction.
It definitely pushes the boundaries a bit, but the
Yeah.
idea of like influencing the subconscious mind, it's not totally new. I mean, think about hypnosis or even like the power of suggestion that you see in advertising.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But is there any like real scientific evidence to back up the claim that listening to affirmations all night can rewire your brain for seduction?
Well, the research on subliminal messaging during sleep is kind of mixed. Some studies suggest that if you're repeatedly exposed to certain stimuli even while you're asleep, it can influence your thoughts and behaviors. But it's not as simple as like playing a tape and waking up a completely different person.
Right, so you're not going to suddenly transform into some master seducer overnight just by listening to affirmations.
No, not quite. Real change takes conscious effort, and consistent action in your waking life. It's about really integrating those positive beliefs into how you interact with people and how you behave.
And he does say that in the course. He's like, you won't wake up a seduction genius just from listening to the tape. It's more about gradual change.
Exactly. It's a good reminder that real lasting change takes time and effort. It's not about shortcuts, it's about consistent growth and learning.
And then he comes back to his main point that seduction is easy if you have the right tools,
So,
meaning like the beliefs and techniques that he's outlined.
right. That's a pretty bold statement. I mean, on the one hand, it can be empowering, it makes you think like, okay, I can actually do this. But on the other hand, it could set people up for unrealistic expectations.
He does admit, though, that he used to think that seduction was impossible, too. He says he changed his mind through practice and learning.
Which is a relatable message, I think. It shows that we can actually change our beliefs and our skills, but it takes work. You have to be willing to get out of your comfort zone and question what you think you know.
So it's not just about learning some tricks, it's about personal growth, too.
Right. It's about becoming more confident and self-aware.
And he also talks about seduction as being like a journey, not a destination.
Yeah, which is a really important point, especially when it comes to dating and relationships. It's not about reaching some imaginary endpoint where you become the ultimate seducer.
It's more about constantly learning and growing and becoming better at connecting with people.
Right. But it also brings up this bigger question of like, what does success in dating really mean? Is it just about how many women you can seduce, or are there other things that are important too?
Like actually making a connection, feeling close to someone, finding someone who shares your values, all that stuff.
Exactly. It's about figuring out what success means to you personally, and that might be totally different from what this course defines as success.
And that's okay.
Absolutely, because ultimately you want to create a dating life that feels good to you and that aligns with your values and your goals, whether that's finding a long-term partner or having fun dating casually or something else entirely.
This course definitely challenges the way we normally think about dating.
It does. Some of the techniques are pretty wild.
Yeah. But it also encourages us to think outside the box and try different things,
To be more proactive and experimental in our dating
to
lives.
take control instead of just waiting around and hoping that something will happen.
And that's a powerful message. Even if we don't agree with everything he says, it makes us think about what we want and how to get it.
So even though this course is all about seduction, it really comes down to a message of empowerment.
It does. It's about taking control, stepping out of your comfort zone, and experimenting to figure out what works for you.
And deciding for yourself what success looks like instead of just blindly following what someone else tells you.
Which might be the most valuable lesson of all, because seduction is really just one part of dating and relationships.
It's true. We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. We've talked about some pretty bold claims and some unusual techniques, and we've raised some important questions about what seduction is really all about.
It's been fascinating to break down these ideas and think about their implications, both good and bad.
And even though we don't necessarily endorse every strategy that he talks about, it's important to remember that there's not just one right way to be successful in dating.
It's about finding what feels authentic to you and what aligns with your values, and always being open to learning and growing and changing along the way.
This deep dive has given us a lot to think about.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest takeaway is that self-awareness is key.
Knowing what you want, why you want it, and what you're really looking for in a relationship, that's the foundation.
Because if you don't have that clarity, it's easy to get lost in the game of seduction and forget what truly matters.
So as we wrap things up, let's think about how we can take these insights and use them in our own dating lives in a way that feels empowering and genuine and fulfilling.
That sounds like a good plan. Let's finish this up. So we've really gone deep with this seduction course, haven't we?
Oh, yeah. We've got confidence boosters and resistance walls and even subconscious programming tapes. It's a lot.
And throughout it all, he keeps coming back to this point about belief. Like if you truly believe that you can seduce a woman,
You're more likely to succeed.
right, it's like that self-fulfilling prophecy thing. Your beliefs shape your actions shape your results.
Exactly. So if you go into a situation thinking you're going to fail, you probably will.
But he also says it's not enough to just believe it. You have to have the skills and the knowledge to back it up.
Absolutely. It's like a two-sided coin. You've got your inner game, your mindset, and then you've got your outer game, the actual techniques and strategies.
So you need both.
Right. And the techniques themselves can be helpful, even if you don't buy into this whole idea of seduction as a game.
Like what he says about setting goals.
Yeah.
Even if your goal isn't to seduce a woman in 24 hours, just having a goal can help you stay focused and motivated.
Definitely. It can make the whole process feel less overwhelming. Instead of just hoping for the best, you've got a plan.
He also emphasizes that seduction is a journey, not a destination.
Which I think is a really healthy perspective. It takes the pressure off. You don't have to be perfect right away.
It's more about learning and growing as you go.
Exactly. And if you hit a roadblock, you don't get discouraged. You learn from it and you keep moving forward.
And that learning can come from all kinds of places. Books, online forums, your own experiences.
He specifically recommends a couple of books, Transformations by Bandler and Grinder, and Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion by Cialdini.
Have you read those?
I have. They're both classics in the field of psychology and communication. They offer some really interesting insights into human behavior and how to influence people in an ethical way.
That's an important point, because seduction should never be about manipulation or coercion. It's about creating a genuine connection.
Exactly, mutual attraction and respect.
He also mentions an online forum called alt.seduction.fast.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that. It's a place where people can connect and talk about these topics.
So it's a good reminder that you're not alone in this. There's a whole community of people out there who are interested in seduction and personal growth.
People who are learning and sharing their experiences, both their successes and their failures.
Which brings us back to the idea of defining success for yourself. What does that look like in your dating life?
It's a good question to ask yourself, because your definition of success might be totally different from what this course is talking about.
Maybe it's finding a long-term partner. Maybe it's having lots of casual relationships, or maybe it's something else entirely.
The point is to figure out what you want and then go for it with confidence and intention.
So what would you say is the biggest takeaway from this deep dive?
For me, it's the importance of taking control of your dating life. Don't be passive. Be proactive. Experiment. Figure out what works for you,
Don't be afraid to question the rules and try new things.
even if they seem a little unconventional.
Because at the end of the day, it's all about finding what feels right for you, what aligns with your values.
And creating a dating experience that brings you joy and fulfillment.
I think that's a great place to leave it.
I agree.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. It's been a wild ride.
It has.
And to our listener, we hope you found this helpful and insightful as you navigate your own dating journey.
Remember, be confident, be yourself, and most importantly, have fun.